Hey everyone, welcome to Wrestling Connection. I'm your host Johnny D, the Redeemer, and here are my reviews and recap of Extreme Rules from last night. Extreme Rules was a pretty good pay-per-view. Wasn't quite as extreme as one would have wanted, but it was still a good pay-per-view. So let's get right into it. During the pre-show, we had our first match, which was Bad News Barrett versus Neville. WWE announced that Daniel Bryan wasn't cleared for competition last night. So this ended up resulting in Bad News Barrett fighting Neville in the pre-show. There were rumors going around that Bryan wasn't going to be able to fight. I thought he'd be fine, but I guess not. They haven't said anything about whether Bryan is going to be out for an extended period again, or if they just wanted to have him take a step back just for the night. So we'll have to see where that goes. Maybe they'll say something tonight on Raw. But the match was really good. Neville, once again, really shined. And Bad News Barrett did very well himself. Bad News Barrett, he's been really impressing me lately. I was in the Navy when he debuted, so I kind of missed him coming into wrestling and everything. But as I've been watching again recently over the past couple years, and Barrett coming back from injury, I'm really getting into him too. But they had a really good match, really well done. I thought that Bad News Barrett should have gotten the win, seeing he was the number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship. With his opponent not being there, I think they should have given him the win and not Neville. It does look really good on Neville, though, that he was able to beat the number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship. Maybe they did this in case Bryan does have to step out for a while. Maybe they kind of did that to set up a rivalry for them too, which I think could be pretty good. It'll be cool to see two Brits go at it, especially maybe over the Intercontinental Championship if it comes down to it. We'll just have to wait and see what happens with Bryan. But a really good match and a really good opening for Extreme Rules. We had Sheamus versus Dolph Ziggler in the Kiss Me Arse match. This was another really good match too. They play very well off of each other. And I really thought that Sheamus, being a returning heel, was going to get the win. But Dolph Ziggler was able to pull off the win, which kind of shocked me. But with that being said, what ended up happening is, it dragged out for a really long time too, is they had to convince, Sheamus, you gotta do this as part of the rules. Sheamus kept trying to escape from kissing Dolph's ass, arse, as they were saying. And finally, when it looked like he was gonna do it after what felt like an eternity, he low-blowed Dolph Ziggler, which I thought was the right move with him losing. He still pulled off the heel move, didn't go through with the humiliation. He still kind of prevailed as a heel in that situation. I don't know where this feud will go from here. I think they should just kind of drop it from there and let Sheamus go off to something else and Ziggler go off to something else. But we'll have to see what happens on Raw with the two of them. We had The New Day versus Kid Cesaro for the Tag Team Championship. New Day actually did really good in this match. In the ring, they did good. Because they are very good wrestlers, all three of them. I wish they kind of would put Xavier Woods in there more and kind of do a Freebirds kind of thing where they constantly rotated who wrestled. But it's seeming like they're putting Xavier Woods just kind of as a managerial thing, even though Woods is a really good wrestler. But yeah, they excelled really well in the ring. They still just don't have that character development yet. But a good match. I didn't think the New Day was going to get the win. I thought it was going to be a count out or a disqualification kind of deal. But they did. They won the titles, which shocked me. This happened after a distraction on the side with Natalya and Xavier Woods, and Kofi was able to get a sneak roll up, with the whole distraction, getting the win. That was really shocking to me. I don't think they were ready for the titles yet. because they were still developing, the New Day as heels. Hopefully they take it and run with it now, especially now that they have the belts. So we'll have to see where that goes. Again, tonight on Raw. We had Ambrose and Luke Harper, who had an interesting match. They started out, they came out, started fighting on the ramp, and they went into the backstage area. They were fighting back there for a little bit, going back and forth, really beating each other up. And then they hopped into a car and drove off, left the arena. And we didn't see them again for about 30 minutes. This was at the beginning of the show. This is actually the first match. We didn't see them for a while until after the New Day was doing an interview in the back after they won the championships. They drive back into the arena and they start battling again in the backstage. They fight their way out back to the ring, and then they start throwing the chairs back into the ring, very ECW-esque. Even the crowd was all chanting EC-Dub, EC-Dub. They get into the ring and they start fighting again, and Ambrose finally picked up the win after a Dirty Deeds onto the chairs. It's great that Ambrose finally got that win. Hopefully this is just a throwaway rivalry to get Ambrose that win. I don't think there's much they could really do more with this rivalry. They didn't really go into depth with anything. They kind of tried to build it up a little bit more during the pre-show. They had Ambrose show up and sit down at that table with the panel, and they kind of started to make it seem like, it started at WrestleMania, because they put Luke Harper put Ambrose through the ladder, and then he put him through the table. So they kind of made it seem like it's going on longer than it was. But yeah, hopefully it was just a throwaway rivalry and they put Ambrose into something else. I kind of would like to see him go into a rivalry against Cena for the U.S. title. This, him saying he wants his championship back, seeing he held it for so long when he was with the Shield. I think that could be interesting to see. Then we had Naomi versus Nikki Bella. First, Naomi did debut a new music and a new look. The music is god awful, just terrible. And she's doing this whole crunk thing, and it's bad. God, it was so bad. I mean, it almost seems borderline sexist, and I know it sounds weird to say. It's just, instead of making her just a genuine heel, there's like, let's come up with something super bad girl feminine, and it just came off all sorts of wrong. I know last video I said I wanted Naomi to get some new music and stuff, but not that. Please, WWE, not that. The match though was pretty good, especially on Naomi's behalf. She's really stepping her game up, and like I said, she's really just totally living in this heel character, and it's reflecting in her wrestling style and stuff. Nikki did miss a few spots here and there. With them being the top divas, they think they would force them to kind of train more. But it seems, and especially with Nikki Bella, it seems like she's always afraid to get too physical. She always comes off as one of those, I'm gonna break a nail kind of girls. But you're a wrestler. You're in the ring. You need to get physical. And it seems like she's very afraid of having any kind of contact. And that's one of the reasons I don't like the Bellas, especially Nikki. Nikki's probably the worst out of the two. But they did manage to have a good match. And it was longer than most Divas matches we've seen lately. Unfortunately, Naomi didn't get the belt because Brie was on the apron, and Naomi was kind of like through the ropes, and Brie kicked Naomi, letting Nikki get the pin and retaining her title. I thought Naomi was going to win it. I thought it was really her time, but I guess not. I think they are going to continue the rivalry, though, especially with the unclean win. It definitely makes it seem like they're going to continue it on a little longer. I think that They should kind of have Naomi start to cheat to win. I said this last video, but have her, cheat to win. Have her realize that's what she has to do to win. She has to, beat the Bellas playing their own game. I kind of wouldn't mind seeing a reunion of the Funkadactyls, but not as the Funkadactyls, just as Naomi and Cameron as two heel divas. I think that could be a good foil to the Bellas. But we'll have to see where WWE decides to take it. Then we had Show and Roman Reigns. Big Show and Roman Reigns. I was kind of hesitant about this match at first. But it actually turned out to be pretty good. It wasn't, an all-out brawl like some would have wanted, but it was pretty good. Roman Reigns took a beating, but he still looked strong, kind of like with Brock Lesnar. He kept going, he kept getting up. It looked like Big Show was gonna win there in a moment. He was gonna spear Roman Reigns through the announce table, but he missed and just went through the table. And then Roman Reigns flipped the regular announce table onto the Big Show and stood on it, so Big Show couldn't get up, and finally got the 10 count. It wasn't great. It wasn't a great match by any means, but it was still good, and it was probably the most extreme match on Extreme Rules. I mean, they used a couple tables, and then they destroyed the announce tables. But like I said, it wasn't a great match. It was still good. I wanted Big Show to kind of get the win, to propel him forward. I think they should be using the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winner more to his benefit, but whatever. I understand them giving Reigns the win. They were in kind of one of those predicaments where you can't really have Reigns lose. And it'll be interesting to see where Reigns goes from here. If they're going to put him back into the title picture, they're going to have him go with Big Show a little longer, or if he really is the person Bray Wyatt's talking about. Who knows? We had John Cena and Rusev in the Russian chain match. This match was okay too. There was a lot of struggle, a lot of back and forth, but they didn't really use the chain to their benefit much. I know a lot of you may remember the Texas Bull Rope match between Eddie Guerrero and JBL. They even mentioned it. And that fight was a bloody brawl. That was a good match. And I understand they can't do the blood and stuff like that, them being PG, but they could have done more with the chain. Probably the most notable thing to take from this is there's still tension with Rusev and Lana. Rusev sent Lana to the back during the match. So I don't think Lana's going to be sticking around with Rusev much longer. And John Cena did retain. What I thought was weird, though, they said it has to be, you have to touch the corners uninterrupted. But the way it worked, the end, they each touched 3 corners. They both had 3, and they had to go for that last one. And as they were going for it, John Cena picked up and did the AA to Rusev, and then hit the corner. But that AA, shouldn't that have interrupted the other 3 corners? I don't know, it's just one of those kind of technicality kind of things. I think it would have been better if he had done the AA and then just hit the 4 corners again, but whatever. That's the way WWE wanted to do it. Maybe they didn't think people would realize, but I did. I don't know if any of you guys did, but that happened. Then we had the main event, which was Rollins and Randy Orton. This match was good and bad. It was good because just between Rollins and Randy Orton, they had a good match. They didn't use the cage as much to their advantage. But again, like with the Cena-Rusev match, they can't really do blood, but they could have used it a little more. They could have been a little more extreme at Extreme Rules. I'm starting to think maybe they should have gotten rid of Extreme Rules as a pay-per-view and to replace with Fastlane instead of Elimination Chamber, but whatever. But yeah, they had a good match between the two of them, and Kane was a nice little element to be out on the side. J&J Security came out. They were trying to get in the ring and stuff. Kane wasn't letting them. And, they kept trying. Randy Orton was keeping Rollins in the ring. And then Randy Orton was trying to get out of the door. Kane wouldn't let him. And Rollins came up and hit Randy, which ended up the door hitting Kane in the face. So Kane gets pissed and slams the door back in both of their faces. This is when Kane and J&J Security both get into the ring. J&J Security trying to tell Kane what to do. And Kane double chokeslams both of them. And he's looking at Rollins and Randy Orton on the floor. He's kind of staring at the two of them, and it looks like he's going to chokeslam Seth Rollins. But instead he picks up Randy Orton, chokeslams him. But then he does also chokeslam Rollins and puts Rollins on Randy Orton. Goes for the 1-2, he kicks out. Randy Orton does RKO Kane, so technically he wasn't disqualified for that. What I also think was cool, at one point, Randy Orton did Triple H's pedigree on Seth Rollins to try and get a pin. I thought that was a kind of a little, kind of a FU to Triple H and the Authority. I thought that was cool that they did that. But then the win, Seth Rollins hits the RKO on Randy Orton, and that's how he gets the pin. I thought it was cool. That's the way they did that. But, and this was kind of said by the commentators and stuff, it wasn't clear, was the RKO banned overall, or was the RKO banned just from Randy Orton using it? I think they did that on purpose. I think that's what's going to be the driving force here on Monday Night Raw. Randy Orton's going to be like, oh, the RKO was banned, so he should have lost, blah, blah, blah. And Seth Rollins is going to be like, no, it was banned for you to use. I think that's what's going to be the driving force of him continuing the feud. Randy Orton saying he should get another title shot. Kane, you can tell Kane's slowly breaking down. And I think we're going to see, a chip away a little bit more here tonight on Raw. I could see Seth Rollins being like, you chokeslam me, blah, blah, blah. And then him also being ungrateful for technically helping Rollins try to win the match. I think that's going to be a little bit more. That's going to chip away at Kane from leaving the Authority. I'd almost kind of like to see the title run kind of turn into a triple threat. See Kane leave the Authority and get into the title picture. I think he could be a nice added element going forward from here. But that was Extreme Rules. It was a good pay-per-view. Like I said, it wasn't as extreme as some would have wanted. In this day and age where, they can't do blood, they can't be quite as aggressive with weapons and stuff, I think maybe this should be the pay-per-view that they get rid of, in lieu of another one. Maybe, WWE announced they're bringing back King of the Ring as a WWE Network thing that's going to be on. I kind of like to see King of the Ring come back as a pay-per-view, instead of Extreme Rules. But hey, that's just WWE. So here going into Monday Night Raw, we'll have a lot to look forward to, see where these rivalries go from here. We'll see what happens with Bray Wyatt. He had a promo at Extreme Rules, but didn't really say who he's talking to yet. And we'll just have to see what happens. Tell me what your thoughts of Extreme Rules were down in the comments below. Let me know what you think might happen on Monday Night Raw. If you haven't seen some of my other videos, go check those out. Like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, share. And I will see you guys tomorrow for my Monday Night Raw review. I'll see you then. Thanks.